Today, we will be discussing the murder of psychiatrist Thomas Burchard and the involvement of former Playboy model Kelsey Turner. In March 2019, Burchard's body was found in the trunk of an abandoned car on a remote road outside of Las Vegas. The investigation uncovered a web of lies, deceit, and betrayal, leading to the arrest of Kelsey, her boyfriend, and another accomplice. In this video, we will dive into the details of the case, including Kelsey's alleged motive for the murder, the timeline of events leading up to Burchard's death, and the ultimate outcome of the criminal trial. Before we go further, please give the video a like. That really helps with the algorithm. I apologize for putting this in the middle of the video, but the channel has stopped growing recently. The Lake Mead National Recreation Area is a breathtaking natural wonder that stretches across over 1 million acres. Located in the heart of the Mojave Desert, this awe-inspiring landscape is home to stunning mountain ranges, sweeping vistas, and crystal-clear waterways. The area boasts a diverse array of wildlife, including bighorn sheep, coyotes, and rattlesnakes, making it a true haven for nature enthusiasts. The stark beauty of this arid landscape is both humbling and awe-inspiring, leaving visitors with a deep sense of wonder and respect for the natural world. However, on Thursday, March 7, 2019, the recreation area was the scene of a gruesome crime. A man, driving through the remote desert with his children, stumbled upon a parked vehicle with a rock hurled through its window. As he approached, a chilling sight met his gaze: the lifeless body of an unknown person. Police rushed to the scene, and upon their arrival, they found themselves thrust into a crime scene. The body lay motionless on the desert floor, and the circumstances of their demise left more questions than answers. The Metropolitan Police Department took over the investigation. 2 weeks later, the police announced to the media that the victim had been identified as Dr. Thomas Burchard, a child psychiatrist from Salinas, California. Burchard's death was caused by blunt force injury to the head, and his death was ruled a homicide. The coroner's office confirmed that he died at 71 years old. Dr. Thomas Burchard worked with Montage Health for nearly 40 years, where he was an immensely popular psychiatrist. His longtime girlfriend, Judy Earp, said that they visited Las Vegas for a psychopharmacology conference in February, and Burchard later returned alone. Earp wanted the person responsible to be brought to justice. Burchard's death left his patients shocked and scrambling to find an adequate replacement after decades of sessions with him, and he was trusted enough to advise their children. Many of his patients were left devastated, and some said that he was the nicest man they had ever met. On March 30th, Kelsey Turner, a 25-year-old Playboy model, was arrested in Stockton, California in connection with the murder of Dr. Thomas Burchard. Kelsey was born in Norfolk, Virginia, and grew up in Jonesboro, Arkansas. After completing her studies at Arkansas State University, she began posing for lingerie and swimsuit shoots. Kelsey had appeared in Playboy Italy in May 2017 and entered the Maxim CoverGirl competition in 2018. In an interview with Maxim, Kelsey revealed her hidden talent as a singer, which she considered a personal and private hobby. When asked what she would do if she won the $25,000 prize from the Maxim competition, Kelsey said she would pay off her student debt and help her family in any way she could. Burchard had offered to help Turner and her kids avoid homelessness, but instead, he ended up paying for their rent. Turner was extradited to Las Vegas a few days after her arrest in California. Dr. Thomas Burchard was born and raised in Boston, where his late father taught architecture at Harvard. He moved to Virginia with his family when his father was offered a job as the founding dean of Virginia Tech's College of Architecture and Urban Studies. After completing medical school, he pursued a career in child psychiatry and worked at some of the top hospitals in the country, including Cincinnati Children's Hospital, Massachusetts General, and UCLA. He then settled at the Community Hospital of the Monterey Peninsula, where he worked for 40 years. Burchard had a special love for children, and he enjoyed performing magic tricks for them. He was a member of the Magic Castle in Los Angeles, a club for pro-level illusionists, and attended magic conferences at least twice a year with his friend Judy Earp. Burchard was generous and often spent money on his patients, paying for their textbooks and medicines. Burchard and Earp met in the early 2000s through mutual friends during a group trip to Las Vegas. Earp, who had 4 school-aged children at the time, moved from Orange County to Salinas to be with Burchard. They lived together in his country home, which was filled with his extensive book and DVD collections, and raised various animals. Burchard had a reputation in Monterey for helping sad women, particularly single mothers who were struggling. However, his generosity may have ultimately led to his death. Burchard was showing signs of dementia before his death and was already exceedingly trusting. His girlfriend, Judy Earp, saw that a young local woman named Kelsey Turner was taking advantage of him and told social workers about Burchard's potential dementia, and the doctors started to appear at their front door. Kelsey, who posed as a model, was a party girl who had a tattoo of a gun tucked into a garter belt. Judy became aware of Kelsey in 2017 and didn't know how or when Burchard met her. Burchard had a history of meeting women online, some with suggestive screen names, and sending them money, and he denied any romantic or sexual relationship. However, Kelsey consumed Burchard's attention and bank account, and he paid her rent entirely and even signed a loan for a BMW convertible, making the payments on that, too. Kelsey denied that their relationship was ever sexual and described it as a case of the doctor having a huge crush on her. After supporting Kelsey for several months, Burchard decided to cut her off. However, this decision did not go down well with Kelsey. She started to extort him with serious threats, including the possibility of revealing false allegations about him that could have cost him his job. Although he was too afraid and embarrassed to go to the police, Burchard decided to fly to Las Vegas to see for himself if Turner was truly in need of help. It would be a trip from which he wouldn't return. Burchard's autopsy showed that he had sustained severe injuries, including cuts, bruises, and scrapes across his face, neck, arms, and upper chest, with part of his ear missing. Police eventually linked the car to Kelsey Turner and her accomplices, Diana Pena and Logan Kennison. The investigation revealed that Turner had been planning Burchard's murder for weeks and had enlisted Diana and Logan to help her. The trio had used Burchard's credit cards to buy the car, a Mercedes-Benz coupe, which they then used to transport his body to the desert. On a side note, I am just surprised they bought a Mercedes to transport the body. It's not like they were going to get the car back. Why not buy something cheaper like a used Ford? Anyway, prosecutors alleged that Turner had planned to use the money she was extorting from Burchard to pay for her legal defense in another case where she was charged with trying to kill her ex-boyfriend. All 3 were eventually arrested and charged with Burchard's murder, with Kelsey facing the death penalty. Police reports and grand jury transcripts revealed that the events leading to Burchard's death began on March 1st, when he visited a 2-story stucco home rented by Kelsey. To Burchard's astonishment, he found a full house. Turner shared the master bedroom with her boyfriend, John Logan, while her son's bedroom was also on the 2nd floor. Another roommate, Jeremy Esherick, slept downstairs. On March 2nd, a fight broke out after Kelsey became enraged at Esherick's girlfriend's behavior when she began chatting up Burchard. Later that night, Kelsey found pornographic photos on Burchard's phone and threatened to get him fired. Burchard shut himself in Kelsey's son's bedroom, and Logan kicked down the door and attacked him with a baseball bat. Burchard was left with a large bruise on his temple and was taken to the hospital by Kelsey's car, where he refused to go back inside the house. Diana testified that she heard Kelsey telling Logan to knock Thomas out before seeing Logan emerge from the garage covered in blood, holding a gun. Diana, Kelsey, and Kelsey's son stayed at Diana's boyfriend's house. They returned the next day to clean up before checking into a motel. Logan later joined them, and they spent a few nights bouncing around between friends' houses and another motel. A friend then drove them to California. When police checked Kelsey's house in Las Vegas, they found it abandoned with cleaning supplies throughout the residence that suggested the occupants were in the process of moving out. They returned later with a search warrant and found evidence of a cleanup at the residence, including blood on a ripped-off bedroom door and more blood in the garage. They found a set of blue and white striped towels matching a towel found inside the car from which Burchard's body was recovered. Turner, who had an intimate relationship with Dr. Burchard, was believed to be involved in his murder. The police also checked Kelsey's phone records and found that her phone was primarily at the home from March 1st to March 5th, and her phone left the house on March 5th, the same day that officers found an open window and questioned a neighbor. Las Vegas homicide detectives had been on the hunt for suspect Kelsey Turner for several weeks. Eventually, they sought the help of the FBI Stockton Task Force in tracking her down. They suspected that Turner was living in Stockton, California. The officers located Turner in a home on East Weber Avenue near the downtown area and arrested her without any resistance. However, her 4-year-old son was with her at the time. The authorities took custody of the child and brought him to the Mary Graham Children's Home, which is a facility that cares for children who are under the custody of social workers or the police. A couple of weeks later, Diana turned herself in to the Las Vegas police and told them everything she knew. Logan was arrested a few days later, and his attorney called Diana a snitch. While the others pleaded not guilty to murder charges, Diana pleaded guilty to accessory to murder. In early June, they all appeared in a downtown Vegas courtroom for procedural hearings. Turner seemed stressed, hiding her pregnancy revealed after her arrest, while Logan was expressionless. Diana tried to avoid the cameras. The trial was originally planned for the summer of 2020, but its complexity caused delays. In the aftermath of Burchard's death, Judy Earp felt a painful validation, as she had been warning others about Kelsey's unstable and dangerous behavior for months. Christopher Ingram, Kelsey's dad, started a fundraising campaign a week after her arrest to cover his daughter's legal expenses. In the GoFundMe campaign, he stated that his daughter was falsely accused and sought $50,000 to help fight her case. However, the campaign was removed soon. In a conversation with The Californian, Ingram described Kelsey as a great mom and a good person, but he refused to provide additional information. Judy Earp would later tell the media that Thomas Burchard had given Kelsey over $300,000 over the years. In June 2022, Logan Kennison pleaded guilty to second-degree murder with a deadly weapon and conspiracy to commit murder. According to a sentencing memorandum filed by Logan's attorneys, he had, quote, stood no chance with Turner after meeting her in February 2019. The memorandum claimed that Kennison had made an error in judgment by getting involved with a, quote, master manipulator whom he couldn't resist, and that his violence was a result of his passion for her. It also alleged that Kelsey's frenzy had fueled him, and her calls for bloodlust had led to the unjustified murder of Dr. Thomas Burchard. Court records showed that District Judge Carly Kearney sentenced Logan Kennison to between 18 and 45 years in prison. On November 10, 2022, Kelsey Turner agreed to an Alford plea. An Alford plea is a special kind of guilty plea in which a defendant maintains their innocence but admits that the prosecution's evidence would likely result in a guilty verdict if brought to trial. As a result, Kelsey received a negotiated sentence that avoided trial. In January 2023, Kelsey was sentenced to 10 to 25 years in prison in Nevada. Kelsey's public defense attorney, Ashley Sisolak, told the judge that she and Kelsey believed the plea deal was the best resolution to the case. Honestly, to me, that sentence sounds like she got off easy. I know that Logan was the one who actually committed the murder, but Kelsey was really the reason why all of this started in the first place. This is just my opinion, but she should have at least received a sentence as harsh as Logan's. In February, Diana Pena, who had testified against her roommates, Kelsey Turner and Logan Kennison, during grand jury proceedings, was sentenced to probation not to exceed 3 years for her role in the killing. Pena had reached a plea deal with prosecutors shortly after her arrest, admitting to accessory to murder. That's fair, if you ask me. Diana seems like someone who just got caught up in something that really didn't concern her just because her roommate was a terrible person. She also helped the authorities. I have had roommates who weren't the best people to live with, and I wouldn't want my life ruined because they did something wrong. I hope Diana is able to put her life back together. Judy Earp has been very private since the investigation ended and doesn't usually reveal much about her personal life on public platforms. She has been focused on moving forward and spends most of her time surrounded by her loved ones. She is believed to be in her 60s at present and still lives in the country home she shared with her late partner, Dr. Burchard, in Salinas. Do you think Kelsey received an appropriate sentence for her role in Dr. Thomas Burchard's murder? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear what you have to say. Till next time. Signing off. This has been Christina.